Hi everyone, it's Tracy Lewin.
And Peter Murray. Good morning, Tracy.
Good morning, Peter. Today we're going to talk about the Bitcoin blockchain.
The Bitcoin blockchain, you say?
Absolutely. You know, there's a lot of talk about the blockchain of late, and there's a lot of people that are saying that this is the main innovation. What are your thoughts on that?
Well, my thoughts are that Bitcoin and the blockchain is one in terms of the Bitcoin blockchain or any, but there are many people creating other blockchains. But let's start with the first question that people ask. What is the Bitcoin blockchain, or what is a blockchain?
Exactly.
Now, I think, first of all, people have this perception that these cryptocurrencies or is some kind of a magic thing that people just invented out of thin air. But in actual fact, all it is a computer program. And this computer program is something, there's a code that people can download on their computer, and everybody can run the Bitcoin client, which is ultimately the core program that runs the whole Bitcoin system. And the more people that runs this program, the more it's distributed amongst many computers around the world. And that's why, and then to get any transactions done or approved in Bitcoin, there's a certain amount of computers that need to confirm these transactions to make sure that they are unique. And the blockchain is really just a sequence of every transaction that confirmed. So transaction number one was confirmed, and it was transaction number one in the blockchain. And then transaction number two and transaction number three. And then when a certain number of transactions are confirmed, a block is formed. And all those blocks added together creates a chain of events. It's almost like a ledger where page one, and as you go through the ledger, you see the whole history of what has happened in a business. This is exactly the same. Every single transaction in Bitcoin is recorded in a chain of transactions that can never be erased or never be altered.
So it's actually it's a ledger that is online. So it's not about flipping through books. It's all online.
It's online, and obviously with something that's online, it can be searched, and and also like I said, all this ledger can never be erased and never be changed. It just grows all the time, and all the transactions are permanently stored.
Yes, it's incredible. So where does Bitcoin actually fit into this whole thing? Obviously we know that Bitcoin is the computer program in front of the blockchain, but where does it actually fit in? Is it necessary to have Bitcoin in this blockchain?
Well, what happens is people are spending computing power to actually run this client and to confirm these transactions. And to get that done, we can ask people very nicely to do this for free, but then I don't think a lot of people will do that. So when a block is discovered or when transactions are confirmed, a fee is charged, and this fee is effectively the creation of Bitcoin.
So now there's a whole lot of computers involved all around the world that are involved in Bitcoin and the blockchain. So who actually controls this blockchain? Is there a business? Is it public? What is it?
Well, in terms of the Bitcoin blockchain, no, it's open source, so it's controlled effectively by this network of this whole network of computers. So there's no single person in control, and that's why to control it, you've got to go to every single person that runs this client and control them, which is totally impossible. So no, there's no central control. It's totally decentralized, and that is the core innovation of this new technology.
Yeah, excellent. So anybody can actually have access to the blockchain.
Blockchain is totally open source. You can go to there's many places where you can access the blockchain. One of the most popular ones is one called blockchain.info, where you can actually see all the transactions happening on the blockchain real time. If you have a wallet address, You can type it in and search it, and you'll see the transactions and the balance in that wallet.
It's incredible.
Yes. The only thing you cannot see is who owns it.
Yes, exactly. So there's no names and addresses.
There's no names and addresses, but currently what's happening is, a lot of people get their wallets and stuff with exchanges or to wallet providers, and then they provide KYC. So ultimately, it could be possible to get that information, and which is an important thing for people to realize, because I think, especially in the beginning when Bitcoin started, it was used for a lot of criminal activity. That has died down because of the fact that, people have realized, because the blockchain creates a unerasable chain of transactions. It's not really, if law enforcement really wants to find you, or at least not block your funds, but know where the funds are that were stolen, they can identify it, and try to get hold of you. That's why, many people were arrested so far already that were involved in all kinds of schemes and scams in Bitcoin.
Correct.
So it's not really, look, if you're a clever criminal, you're not going to use Bitcoin or the blockchain for your activity. That would be a bit stupid.
And in actual fact, there was a report earlier this year where law enforcement and Bitcoin miners are actually working together, because obviously if they do some work, they're creating Bitcoin, so they're earning.
Yeah, absolutely. So yeah.
Very good there. So how is the blockchain different to banking ledgers?
Well, it's totally different, because banking ledgers really only make a record of transactions that's happening in that specific bank, and if you're a client of the bank, banking ledgers don't record transactions with the whole currency. So there's no ledger that actually records all the currencies, all the transactions that was ever done in US dollars, for instance. With Bitcoin, every single Bitcoin transaction is documented. So the whole currency is documented, not just one participant or a group of participants' transactions. And also, banking ledgers can be falsified, they can be erased, they can be stolen, the Bitcoin stuff, and also they are secret. Whereas the Bitcoin ledger is open, anybody can see it, it cannot be stolen, it cannot be erased, and it's secure to use.
That's incredible. So now, what is double spending? I mean, this is quite interesting, actually.
Double spending is when you make the mistake of going to a shopping mall or something with your wife when it's the autumn sales. No, double spending in the Bitcoin world or in the cryptocurrency world is when you actually have the same coins being spent twice. And that is the reason why transactions on the blockchain needs to be confirmed, because that eliminates the possibility of double spending. Because if you try to spend the same Bitcoins twice, then your transactions won't be confirmed through this network of computers. So it eliminates that possibility, so it cannot be done.
And the other thing that is totally incredible is that no transactions on the blockchain can be duplicated, and that to me is fantastic. And if something does or something is looking a little fishy, it just doesn't get verified.
Correct, and yeah, this is exactly what we said. That's why double spending can't happen.
Yes, and this is also the beauty of open source, because open source, that means that there's so many eyes and so many hands in this pie. So
Tracy, people don't realize the power of that. If you look at Wikipedia, it's been proven that Wikipedia is much more reliable than the Encyclopedia Britannica. Even though anybody can put up anything on Wikipedia or change, edit information or facts. If you put up something that's incorrect, it's corrected so quickly. And also, like I said, it's been proven that it's more accurate than any of these big encyclopedia companies.
Yeah, it's incredible. So we did mention it a bit earlier about, can transactions on the blockchain be erased? Once
Well,
they are there, they are there.
once they are there, they are there. Yeah. So the answer is no.
Excellent. You know, there's lots of talk at the moment about all different transactions, different industries all getting involved in blockchain. So what types of transactions can you think of can be stored on the blockchain?
Well, there are many because you have a ledger, you can store any type of financial transaction. Actual fact is anything that you want to record. You
So
can
real
even
estate
you can
deals.
any type of deals that involve contracts, assets, like you say, real estate, buy and sell or sales of anything. But more than that, any records that need to be stored. So you can put birth certificates on there. You can put passports on there. Any information that needs to be stored in a document form. Also messages. If you there are currently companies creating messaging services on the blockchain, and all those messages are chain. So really, any digital record can be stored on it.
It's incredible. You know, and we're just getting more and more innovation coming out in regarding the blockchain. You know, people are starting to say, well, gee whiz, now, you know, what about putting this on the blockchain? Music,
But,
for instance.
but Tracy, let me just say something here. Every single transaction or every single entry are timestamped. So, for instance, if you do something say, for instance, copyright, you invent a new thing and you put this on the blockchain, and somebody else then copies it like 2 years later, and there's an argument in court about who created it first. You can actually go back from the blockchain and go look at the timestamps and
Yeah,
see who actually claimed that copyright first.
this is incredibly powerful. So, you know, this is actually why there's been many, many companies, banks embracing the blockchain. But now, you know, a whole lot of them, particularly banks, are looking at creating their own private blockchains.
Well, the reason for that is the banks realize, and I think people have to realize the bank is not creating private blockchains because they want to create their own bitcoins. What they're doing is they're using the technology because the ledger is very effective.
Mm,
So and private blockchains are usually used to keep internal records and to also to make sure that and also it creates efficiencies because these transactions are stored now online digitally. They cannot be tampered with. It's a very cheap and efficient way to store documents
mm,
or information. And the banks are doing. It's almost like the internet of old. You know, when companies started creating intranet to use the internet technology or in-house messaging systems or stuff like that. So this
yeah.
is just really in-house document storage systems. But also, the banks also use the public blockchain because if they want transactions confirmed, so or really just uh, input into the ledger confirmed, you
So
know.
does it mean that goodbye old archive rooms that are so dusty? You know,
Well,
everything is now sitting on the blockchain.
I think ultimately yes, but that would require a change in legislation because
In
currently
many years.
people have to keep physical records stored legally.
Yes. Yeah, so that will also take a long time to get through. So probably not going to happen anytime soon. So, you know, who else is getting involved with the blockchain? There's
Well,
news every single week.
Well, if you think about, just by building our news program, we've been following this trend. I mean, the banks were very quick to get involved in those many bank consortiums of banks working together and developing blockchains. So banks are getting involved, financial companies, insurance companies, hedge fund managers, asset managers, property registrars, governments are involved, central banks are involved, consulting firms, accounting firms, firms like Price Waterhouse, Deloitte, and those are all coming out with all kinds of blockchain ideas. And then also, business people, entrepreneurs are involved in the blockchain, creating new products. and then
And
there
smart
are
contracts.
and law enforcement.
Yeah. So, and also sort of the backbone of smart cities as well.
Absolutely. I mean, so to really all industries are getting involved because this is such a revolutionary technology.
Absolutely. It's fantastic. Excellent. So if anybody wants to go and check out, transactions happening real time, go to blockchain.info and you will see transactions rolling in, all the time. It's actually quite fascinating, really. And to know that also that there's lots of information on that website as well. But also follow us on YouTube, come to our Facebook page, connect with us, and if you have any questions, please add them to the comments below so we can get back to you.
Well, I think this is the third video we now made in our training series. So, you can also go to that playlist and watch the previous videos on and we're going to add, continuously add more training if you're free, except, we would love it if you follow our stuff. But I also suggest that, like Tracy said, join all of this, but also download. We've got a document called the Bitcoin Believers Manifesto. Download that and get on your mailing list, because then you will receive more information on what's going on in Bitcoin and the blockchain. And like I said, you'll get a free education.
Excellent. Well, thank you very much, Peter. This is pretty informative, I believe.
Thank you, Tracy. And as always, it's been a pleasure.
Yes, thank you. Cheerio.
Bye-bye.